Hey y'all, it's time for another What Sold video. I have 17 sales to go over with you from 1 week in my resale business. So it was a pretty good week for me. I had my very first Depop sale ever, started listing on there, and I had my very first negative eBay review. So I'll share that with you and how that turned out. If you're new here, hi, I'm JENNYSHANEYFELT. I am an online clothing reseller. The way I run my business is I go to thrift stores and search for inexpensive but high quality or in-demand items, and I flip them on eBay and Poshmark and now Depop for a profit. And I come on here and share with you what sold because it was such a help for me in the beginning and still is a help for me to just see other resellers and what is selling on the same platforms that I am selling on. It makes me a better sourcer when I'm flipping through the racks in the thrift store. You know what? If you are new here, I would love for you to say so in the comments. And if you're not new, this is not your first video to watch on my channel, I'd love to hear that too. And for either of you, if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love for you to consider subscribing. Subscribing is always free, but it helps my channel grow, and I'm so appreciative of that. But also, if you subscribe and hit the bell icon, it tells YouTube that you want to be notified every time I release a new video. So that's pretty cool. I've got a couple people's channels that I have that bell icon clicked because I don't want to miss them. I want to know as soon as they post. Let's get into this week's sales. Okay, this one was the one that I bought at the thrift store, but I bought it for myself to try on to see if I wanted to wear it to my niece's wedding. It's the second one of this same cut in blue that I purchased for that same reason, but both of them just looked horrible on me. And once I listed them, they sold rather quickly. The other one, I don't even remember what brand it was, but I know it wasn't this same brand, but it was the same type of flowy fabric that had the belted tie around the waist and maybe like a sheer sleeve, I think. Yeah, sheer sleeve, it says that in the title. And like I said, they both sold pretty quickly. This one sold in just 10 days. I titled this one Chaps Women 12 Blue Floral Faux Wrap Dress, Sheer Sleeve, V-neck, Modest 3/4 sleeve. Chaps is not a brand that I seek out to sell. I paid $4.99 for this dress and I listed it for $33. The buyer offered $20 and I accepted. That gave me a profit of $11 and a penny. This one is one my sister gave to me. My sister loves thrifting as well, but she's never been a reseller, but she's like me, just like that dress that I was just showing you. She'd rather take it home and try it on, and if she doesn't love it, she gives it to me, and I'm so appreciative. This one, I said, she gave it to me. I was sitting at her kitchen table. I was like, oh, this is Eileen Fisher. She's like, I didn't even know that was a good brand. I love Eileen Fisher, y'all. It was one of the first brands that I ever learned about when I was learning about reselling, and every time I see it, I get excited. So this one took just 6 days to sell. I titled it Eileen Fisher Women's Small Organic Cotton Striped Button Shirt Tunic Length Oversized. I had no money into it. I listed it for $50. I offered someone $45, and that gave me a profit of $38.45. Thanks, sister. This one I had forever. I know Kim Rogers is not a sought after brand, but it was a plus size and it was new with tags and it was a baby doll type top. So I was hopeful, but it didn't work out so well. I would probably avoid picking this one up. It took 463 days to sell. I titled and I relisted it and reworked the title a couple of times. I titled it New Kim Rogers Tunic Length Top 4X Blouse Shirt Ditzy Floral Print Shirt Stretch. I paid $5.99 for it and listed it for $28. The buyer offered $18.03. I said heck yes, and that gave me a profit of $8.44. And of course, I also got back on top of the profit the $5.99 that I initially paid for it. All right, next, this is also something that came from my sister. I think it was one of her kids that never wore it. This is probably not something that I would have picked up just to buy. I've learned that Under Armour does not sell well for me in just a hoodie or like a regular t-shirt or anything like that. Now, like the compression garments and things like that do a little bit better, but not hoodies, but because this was new with tags and I had no money into it, it was for sure worth listing. So I titled it New with Tags, Under Armour Lightweight Stretch Hoodie, Boys Youth Extra Large, Gray Forest. This is definitely something out of my wheelhouse. I don't do many youth things and I don't do many men things, but I had no money into it. I listed it for $25. The buyer offered $20. I accepted. That gave me a profit of $17.19, and that only took 78 days, so not bad at all. All right, here's the wonderful dress that got me my first negative review. It wasn't the dress's fault at all. All right, let me tell you all the normal information first. I titled this one, J. Crew Red Silk Dress, Women's P4 Petite, Ruching, Flowy, Preppy, Sundress, Wedding Guest. Here's the tag. This tag is going to play into it later. I'm so thankful that I took this great picture of the tag and listed it. All right, so this one took 78 days to sell. I paid $1.25 for it. I normally don't even look at size 4. I don't really even look at medium or below. This one was a size 4. It must have been thrown in with the bigger sizes. And because it was J. Crew, it was $1.25. It was silk. It was gorgeous. I picked it up. So I knew it might take a little bit longer to sell since it was a 4, but 78 days is not bad. So I listed it for $24, and I don't think I listed it for $24. I listed it for $24 and the seller offered $24. I think I listed it for at least $33. Anyways, they did pay $24 and my profit was $19.11. Okay, so I do have returns turned on. I've told y'all that in the last couple of videos because I feel like when I allowed for returns, my sales went up. Because for me, I'm not going to probably buy a clothing item that I know I can't return if it doesn't fit. So I do feel like that has increased my sales, and to have to deal with returns every now and then, I think it's a fair trade-off. But you do get situations like this. So so I got a message that said, doesn't fit. It was just a real short message that said, buyer is requesting return. Reason, doesn't fit. She didn't elaborate or anything like that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And so I was just like, okay, yeah, I do returns. You know, it's always a little bit of a bummer, but I'm happy to take a return. So when I got it back, I looked at it and this waist was tiny. And I remembered that it was a smaller size, so I took it out and I looked at it and I was like, this is like from my shoulder to the middle of my chest, how small the waist is. So then I was like, what size was this anyways? And I looked at the tag, and y'all can see on the screen, you can see the tag, and look, here's the tag that came back to me. It's completely blank, completely blank. So what would you think that meant? I was like, oh my gosh, she washed and dried this silk dress, which not only erased the tag so I can no longer sell it as 100% silk, but I believe this dress has shrank. So I got my tape measure out and I compared it to the measurements that I put in my listing. And in some areas it was a good like 2 inches off. The length I think was 2 inches off. The waist was like 1.5 inches off. And there was maybe one more measurement that was off. I don't remember. So I was like, I spent $1.25 on this thing. It's only a $19.11 profit. Like, do I just refund them and not risk getting a negative review, or do I fight based on principle? And honestly, which one I choose depends on the day and what mood I'm in. But that day, I was like, you know, I believe I'm going to fight this. I personally think she wore it to an event, washed it, dried it, returned it. And that's not okay. That is not okay. And you know what I was thinking about on a little bit of a different note? I think for dresses like this, like maybe everything, I don't know. I think I'm going to get a tag gun and put a little tag on there that says returns will not be accepted if this tag is removed. And I'm going to put it like on the side seam or something where you cannot hide it. I think I'm going to do that. I think it's going to cut down on stress for me in the future and for people wanting to do things like this. So anyways, I decided to fight it, and I was really wanting to get my ducks in a row before I did fight it, because I was pretty sure if somebody would do this and lie about it, then they would definitely leave a negative review. So I read all through the return policies and how all that worked, and I still wasn't really quite sure because there's so much to read. So I called eBay. They're really good. If you don't know, eBay is really good about talking to you when you need to. So I put in a request to call. I think they called in like 5 minutes or something. I explained the situation to them, and she said, well, I see that you do accept returns, and you're one of our top, I don't remember how she worded it, like top rated seller or one of our top sellers or something like that. She said you had two options. You can either refund 50% and leave it at that, and she can review you however she sees fit, or you can ask eBay to step in. They will review everything that you're telling me here, and they will decide if maybe you don't have to refund anything. She said, but if they side in the customer's favor, then that takes away your option to refund the 50%, and you have to refund the whole thing. So the more I thought about it, I just decided to go with refunding the 50%. I don't really know why, because I felt like eBay would side with me. She said if you refund the 50% and she does leave you a negative review, you can request eBay to review it at that point and possibly remove it. And I was like, oh, I don't want a negative review. I mean, like, I have 100% positive, and one negative review is not going to affect it that much. I just don't want a negative review. In my Etsy store where I design and sell shirts and mugs and stuff like that, a negative review can really affect your algorithm. Basically, it feels like when you do get a negative review that they don't show your stuff to as many people, you don't get as many sales for a while. And I don't know if that's the case with eBay's algorithm, but I didn't want to find out right here before my best time of year. So I did go ahead and refund her the 50%, and I typed out the whole thing that I just explained about how I believe the item had been washed and probably dried, and that it no longer said anything on the tag, so I couldn't sell it as 100% silk. And that the measurements were way off compared to what I had put in the description. And so it sent all that to the buyer, and the buyer instantly left me a nasty review and said that I was a liar and that I had taken a photo of a different dress to submit to eBay. I've never seen this dress again in my life. I don't have another dress like this. And that no one should ever buy from me again, and blah, 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 blah. So I did tell eBay, and they did remove the review. So I was very pleased with the way eBay stepped in behind their seller who was trying to do the right thing and even refunded her half of her money. But I know on Etsy, where I do the t-shirts and stuff, I have had a review one time that I'm very particular about my listings where I have the measurements and everything in there. And the lady left me like a 1 star because she said her t-shirt was too long. And I'm like, it's exact. And I had asked her, how long is it? And she sent me a picture with the tape measure. And I was like, oh, it's exactly what the measurement in the listing says that it is, you know? And Etsy said, we're not allowed to remove those. I think it was FTC regulates that, and that is just them describing their experience with you, and a review is their opinion, and we can't take it off. So I was very pleased that eBay stands behind their sellers with that. And I still did get a little bit of a profit. I don't think I will sell this dress again because it's probably not gonna fit anybody because the proportions are so off now. because the waist is so small. But if anybody wants this, y'all just let me know. Y'all pay the shipping and I'll send it to you. It's a size 4 minus some. Okay, so that was my experience there, and that took all of my work time that day just trying to figure out what to do, but now I know. Okay, next, my very first Depop sale. This was an item that I had listed for a while. It was listed for 112 days, and this is a Walmart brand, but this is a vintage Y2K style, and when I saw it, I was like, this is gonna sell good, and it did. I was so excited. So I titled it Vintage Y2K Whimsy Goth Baby Doll Dress Women's Medium Strappy Black Red Floral Dark Fairy. Y'all, I had so much interest on this from the very beginning and a lot of low offers. I thought about accepting them just because it was a Walmart brand, but I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I just wanted to test out to see if I could sell it for more. Now, it wasn't an extraordinary amount of money, but it was more than it probably was new. I paid $3.99 for it, and I listed it for $39. And someone on Depop sent me an offer for $33.15. I was excited to accept that, because if you sell on Depop, you know that your fees are way lower. So that left me with a profit of $27.40. And then, I think it was the very same day, I got my second sale on Depop, and this was a full price sale. So, any of these embroidered type sweaters that I've listed on Depop have gotten immediate interest. So I titled this one, Vintage Tiara International Fall Sweater Cardigan Women's Large Cottagecore Pumpkins. It was a beautiful sweater. There were a couple of pulls on it that I had to take my tiny little crochet needle and just come in from the inside to the out and pull them back through, and it was good as new. Up close of the cute little flower buttons. These are like my absolute favorite thing to find in the thrift store, are these embroidered sweaters. You're not gonna believe what I got for it. So I paid $5.99 and I listed it for $69, and they paid full price. That gave me a profit of $54.67, and it only took 18 days. All right, next we have this Lucky Brand women's large maxi dress, sleeveless, navy blue, boho, casual, floral comfort. I had this for 153 days. I paid $4.15 for it. I listed it for $29. Someone sent me an offer, I think it was about $15. I countered at $20, which is a little bit low for this dress, I feel like, but because it is sleeveless and we're going into the colder months and I had had it a while, I accepted. That gave me a profit of $11.72. Next, this one, to me, like, I'll take this for myself all day long. A hooded dress with pockets and thumb holes in a neutral color, new with tags. But apparently the rest of the world didn't agree with me. This one sat in my inventory for 240 days. I titled it New Dakini, I think is how I'm saying that. Women's medium, hoodie dress, pockets, casual, thumb holes, stretch, v-neck, gray. I paid $5.99 for it. I listed it for $29. Someone sent me a lower offer. I countered at $25.20. They accepted. That gave me a profit of $15.58. Pretty good profit. Just took a little while to sell. This one I also had a ton of interest in, and I priced it high to see what it could do, but I feel like it would have maybe sold like same day situation if I had priced it lower, because there was just so much interest. Ralph Lauren Women's 1X Black Velvet Silk Maxi Skirt Ruffle Whimsy Goth Dark. I paid $4.15 for it. I listed it for $49. I had it for 158 days. Buyer offered me $33.47. I accepted. That gave me a profit of $24 and a penny. Next, Habitat. I've been finding Habitat a lot at the thrift stores around here lately, and I feel like they sell pretty good. This one I had for 82 days. I titled it Habitat Artsy Top, Women's Extra Large, Purple Tunic, Cowl Neck, Lagging Look, Asymmetric, Textured. I paid $3.15 for it. I listed it for $38. The buyer offered me $29. I thought that was fair and I accepted. That gave me a profit of $20.79. I love finding Dansko clogs. They usually do pretty good. I titled these Dansko Professional Tooled Black Gray Nurse Clogs, size 38, which is a 7.5 to an 8, floral embossed. I found this size chart online and put it in there as well. I had these for 40 days and I had no money into them because my mom had given them to me when she decided she didn't want to do clothes anymore. I listed them for $49. The buyer offered $30. I accepted. That gave me a profit of $24.73. Okay, next I have Rockin' Republic Women's Medium Black Wing T-shirt, studded stars, black, whimsy goth, Y2K. This one sat for 161 days. I bought it for $2. I listed it for $19 and I sent someone an offer for $15.11 and that gave me a profit of $10.86. Next, this one I had forever. Also, I cleared out a lot of older inventory during this week, so I am grateful for that and still made a profit on all of them. This one I had for 421 days. So if you run across this shirt, I would not necessarily recommend that you get it, but it was part of my week, so I want to put it in here and share with you the bad buys as well. So this is Loft. I titled it Loft Women's Medium, button front ruffle shirt, pleats, high neck, career, office, feminine. And I can tell you one takeaway from this sale. It sold shortly after I relisted it. So relist your older items. It really makes a difference. So I paid 50 cents for this. I listed it for $20. The buyer offered $13, and because I had not had much interest, I was very glad to accept that. That gave me a profit of $9.57. I titled this one The Mountain Purple Wolf T-shirt, medium, Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, wolves hiking. I never would have thought to use Northern Lights and Aurora Borealis in the title, except for when I ran the comps. The ones that had sold had said that. So I love getting keywords out of titles in sold comps. I paid $2.99 for this. I listed it for $29. And 136 days later, the buyer offered me $20. I accepted. That gave me a profit of $13.99. Next, I titled this one Ivy Storehouse 2X Alpha Kappa Alpha Sweater Dress, Black Turtleneck, Long Sleeve. So I have known about this sorority and this brand since early in my resale career, and it was just because I ran across it in the thrift store and thought it looked interesting and I ran the comps. So when I did run the comps, I learned, let me pull this up right here. Alpha Kappa Alpha is America's first sorority established by college-educated African-American women, founded in 1908 at Howard University. The name translates to the Greek motto, by culture, by merit, reflecting its core principles of cultivating high ethical and scholastic standards and being of service to all humankind. The organization is dedicated to sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social justice, with its colors being salmon pink and apple green. So I thought that was pretty dang cool. So I found two other shirts, I think just two. I'll look it up and I'll pop it up on the screen for you here so you can see the other ones that I've sold in the past. And the other one sold really, really fast. I think this turtleneck sweater dress I had listed in the warmer months, so it did take longer to sell. But who knew? This is like a nationwide sorority, and so look for this emblem when you're out, or anything that says Alpha Kappa Alpha. You'll see green and pink stuff everywhere, and it's, I think, pretty sought after. All right, So I bought it for $5.99. I listed it for $65. The buyer offered me $44 after 229 days, so I accepted that. That gave me a profit of $31.10. And last but not least, I had these shorts for 305 days. I have had some Crown and Ivy shorts that were given to me that sold for a decent profit. So when I saw these, I thought they were cute. I got them, but I'm going to be a whole lot more discerning in the future on my Crown and Ivy shorts, just based off my experience since then. But I titled these Crown and Ivy Women's 14 Caroline was the style name. Shorts, plaid, golf, stretchy, preppy pockets, and it had a longer inseam, so I did put 5-inch inseam in the title, which I thought would help it sell. Maybe it did, I don't know. I paid $2 for them. I listed them for $19.89 based off of the comps that I was seeing and what else was listed. The buyer offered $13. That gave me a profit of $8.07. So I had some good sales. I had some not so great sales. I cleared out some inventory. I got my first negative review, but eBay had my back. So it was a pretty good week. All right, let me go over the profits for this week. So I don't know if I said this earlier. This was the week of August 11th through August 17th. I'm recording this on September 22nd. I am behind. I'm doing my very best to get caught up. There were a couple weeks here in a row that were not as lengthy. Yeah, I think it'll be my next video where I'll go over 2 weeks in one video. I'm getting caught up, I promise. All right, so this was August 11th through August 17th. I had 17 sales. Only one came from Poshmark. And I thought I would tell you guys something that I don't think I've ever shared on my videos. I could get more sales on Poshmark, but I don't send great offers on Poshmark. And I do that on purpose because I would rather sell on eBay, and I would now, I think, rather sell on Depop. I don't know, the jury's still out about that, but the fees on Poshmark are the highest, and I would rather get the sales on eBay and Depop. Like, give me all the sales. I want to sell really great on all the platforms, but that's just kind of how I look at it. So normally what I do is as soon as I get a like on Poshmark, I send out a 10% off offer. That's it. And I don't offer discounted shipping either. And then every now and then, like I want to say once a week, but it's probably less often than that, I will send out 20% off offers and 30% off offers, just like selecting the things that I want to send those offers on, the older stuff or stuff that hadn't got a lot of interest. It does take me a minute to go through that whole list, but and then I will also every week or so like bundle all of my Poshmark shoppers likes into a bundle and send offers on those. But other than that, that's about all that I do on Poshmark. So I know that if I sent better offers, I would get more sales on Poshmark, but I would rather get the sales on eBay and Depop. So Poshmark is like kind of like my waiting in the wings site where, I don't know, when sales are low, I send better offers. And anyways, I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Does anybody else do it like that? Am I looking at that wrong? Like, y'all tell me what y'all think about that and what y'all do. So I got 1 sale on Poshmark this whole week. I got 14 on eBay and 2 on Depop. My first 2 Depop sales ever. That was a total of 17 in 1 week. That's great for me. So my total that my customers paid with adding the sales and the shipping that they paid, like the item plus the shipping, was $568.73. The fees that I paid to each platform when these sales came through was $74.88. The shipping that I paid to get the item to the customer was $94.03, which made my earnings, so the amount deposited back into my checking account, was $399.82. Now, to look at what my profit actually was, I do have to take out the cost that I initially paid for each of these items in the thrift store. So the cost of goods for this week was $53.13. And that gave me a profit of $346.69. That's a great week for me. So I was pretty excited about that. Okay, next week, I have something super exciting to show you guys, I think. Yep, there it is right there. So it is my fiance's tattered, old, worn out work shirt. And you're not going to believe what it sold for. I can't wait to tell you all about it. All right, make sure that you're subscribed. Hit that bell icon so that you get a notification when I post the next video. I hope y'all have a great week. I'll see you next time.